So, Amelia, I see you got yours open. Can you tell us what it starts with?
Rock the body.
Oh, knocked everything loose. Killed the power plugs. All right, so rock the body. Can you actually read what it says? We'll give an example.
Place thumb and index finger between the shoulder, clavicle area, and chest cavity with hand. Compress hand downward and inward at a 45-degree angle in thoracic channel. Press for 1 to 2 minutes at 100 beats per minute. Perform on both sides 1 time.
Okay, so my thumb's gonna be right under the clavicle. I'm making contact with my entire L shape of my hand, including the web. This pressure is gonna be super light. So I'm even using this thin little web. This is like the opposite of quarter 2, quarter 3, where we're like focusing on that bony prominences. Here, we're using such light pressure, we only want to compress skin deep. The reason for that is because the lymphatic system, 70% of the vessels are skin deep, literally in the skin. And so if I do deep pressure of any sort, even firm pressure, I'm actually blocking temporarily. When I let go, it returns. But temporarily blocking the flow of lymph, just like pinching a straw. When my daughter's trying to drink her Pepsi and I pinch the straw. As soon as I let go, it opens back up, but I didn't encourage the flow at all. So when we're doing our therapy, we just want to do very, very light pressure, so we're only divoting the skin. We're not going into bone or fat or muscle at all. One of the biggest challenges we're going to have today is converting from deep tissue pressure to lymph pressure. My pressure is going to be at a 45 degrees, down and in, as if I'm trying to press towards the vertebral column. It's 100 beats per minute, which is the beat to staying alive, or another one bites the dust. We're doing that for 2 minutes. I'm over the axillary nodes, and think about the lymph nodes as being like tiny sponges, where the fluid's constantly moving through, white blood cells are cleaning it. By squeezing the sponges, it's like I've got an old dirty sponge in the sink, and I'm running underwater and squeezing with that clean water running over it. It's going to push the old junk out, bring clean water in, eventually the sponge is going to get cleaner and cleaner. What we're doing right here is cleansing out all these axillary nodes, pushing them farther along to the drain at the clavicle. This can be done bilaterally, but I want you guys to start unilateral. When you do unilateral, you've still got your standard, down and in body position. When you go bilateral, it becomes all muscular, and you got to really be a lot more careful about the direction. Because right here, I'm just pushing down and in the way my arm's focused. If I go to do bilateral, we'll come back to this in a second. A lot of people end up going to the middle or down or push. You got to still go 45 degrees. It becomes a different challenge.
What happens if you hold it?
You just hold it, nothing. It's just like everything else here. We're not really, like if you just squeeze the sponge once and hold it under the water, you cleaned it a little bit, but you didn't really accomplish your goal of really cleaning the sponge. Now, the nice thing is, we've equipped all your boots with clocks, so you can watch the clock for the right amount of time. As you get more and more practice at this, you can actually feel when the sponge is clean out and the fluid starts to flow and drain on its own. I can actually feel one side get thinner when it happens.
What do you actually feel thinner?
The tissue actually becomes less spongy, less full of fluid. When we get to the face, I'll be able to show you. I'll do one half of the face, and you'll be able to see some differences side to side. Yeah, it's a little bit. Okay. If a couple people want to check and feel side to side, you can feel a little bit of a difference. The more people feel, the less the difference becomes, because every time you feel, you're poking the side that I haven't done yet. Both sides. Yeah, just feel both sides. Maximize contact. There you go.
That side is a bit intenser. Wow.
And you have to do it for 2 minutes, like.
You do not. So if you feel the drain open and flatten out, you can move on. But 2 minutes is the prescribed time that it's going to happen.
Are they required to lay down for those things?
They're not required to lay down. It's just comfortable for them, and it gives you great access. But I've done it in a sitting position many times.
That's what I wondered. And my mother-in-law gets it done, and she said that it's not a sitting position, so I wondered. Probably will be easier.
And there was this under the
Well, maybe for some people.
Yeah, so thumb is going to be, it's going to be inverted, but it's right
Yeah.
there. So I'm under the clavicle and along the pec. Okay, next step.
Thoracic crest. Place hands on top of each other on the client's sternum. Instruct client to take deep breath 2 times. Roll hands on sternum at the end of the second exhale. Perform 1 time.
Okay, so we would do that on both sides, opening both sides. The next step is the sternal thrust. Now, most lymph drainage is all done at that super light skin only rate. But during the channel opening, there will be a couple of times, this is one example, we're gonna press deep enough, we wanna move fluid inside the chest cavity. There are lymph nodes on the sides of the sternum. And I wanna compress the sternum slightly to pump and flush those lymph nodes. So I do that by placing my bony palm at the manumbrium. However, take 2 breaths in. The first breath is just so I can see how fast she breathes, because I want to time my compression for when she's out of breath. If I were to do it right now, I'd just push a bunch of air out. If I let her breathe all the way out and then compress, then I can compress fluid. The compression is press the manumbrium down. So it's like a rolling. People are like, it's like CPR. It's not like CPR at all.
I was thinking more like the wave on your.
It's more like the wave on the abdomen. We're pressing deep enough. Remember, this is all cartilage. We're pressing deep enough that we can feel that cartilage roll. Okay. Next up, shoulder thrust.
Shoulder thrusts. Use same hand placement for rock the body. Instruct client to take 2 deep breaths. Place hand in, or push hand in toward the chest cavity. Perform on both sides 1 time.
So same position we started with the 200 beats. But this time, we're going to do that same compression a lot deeper, just like I did on the sternum. This time, my goal here is to feel the ribs compress in.
So are you still timing the breath?
Still timing with the breath.
And you're still pushing in the same direction?
It's the same direction. Everything's the same, except I'm going
Pushing
with
a
the
little
breath,
deeper.
pressing a lot deeper. Definitely deep enough I can feel the rib cage flex.
So after they exhale all the air is when you do it.
Mhm.
Okay.
So on this side, I will show the same thing, but I'll add vibration with it. Vibration was not part of the original therapy back in the 1930s. It's been added since because this was developed by a PhD, and we've added it because massage. You know, vibration has a relaxing effect. When somebody feels the pressure, they tend to tighten their pec a little bit. By vibrating a little bit, it releases the pec, so then I can really compress just the ribs. Go ahead and do your big breath. I'll vibrate as she breathes out. So vibrate as she breathes out, compress with the relaxed pec. Okay, next up, cisterna.
The cisterna. On the left side only, place fist with knuckles in line with the belly button just inside the bottom of the rib cage. Instruct client to take 4 deep breaths. Push fist down slowly with each exhale and provide resistance during the inhale by not moving the fist back up. Lift the fist off of the body during the 4th inhale. Perform 1 time on the left side only.
Right.
Okay.
See, that's why I told you to take your own notes. Okay. So we're only going to do this on the left side of the body, because remember, the cisterna drains up the left to the thoracic duct. We don't do it on the right. I line up where the belly button is and where this high point of the rib or center of the breast. It's the same thing. If I just draw those together, that's where my fist goes. I use my inferior fist It's a hammer hold. Don't go this way where you tend to push across the body. We want to go this way, so I'm pressing directly towards the table. The other hand on top for added power. I always recommend you use the inferior hand, not the superior hand, because the superior hand, this is going to hit their ribs. I use the inferior hand, it goes right between the gap. For 4 breaths, every time she breathes out, I will sink in. Every time she breathes in, I just hold position. Last one in. Big breath in. When she gets to the top, I let go. And so when she gets her 4th breath in, I just relax my arms and her belly pushes me out. Do not let her breathe in and then go 4 and like push yourself up, punching them in the stomach. Like when you get done, she breathes in 4, you just relax your arms. Okay? Last one is the sweep. I'll just go ahead from here. I'm placing my hand right under the rib. This hand on the back is mirroring. I'm going to sweep down and out under the ribs. Like I'm scooping fluid down and out. Again, we only do this on the left side. 4 to 6 repetitions. This again is firm. I imagine I'm scooping the solid ice cream, like Baskin Robbins ice cream, scooping down and out. Okay? This is to open up the spleen and the cistern. My wife, when she first felt this, described it as somebody squeezing a little ketchup packet.
That feels good or not?
It feels different. If you felt it and you were getting therapy, you'd be unsettled by it.
So, if somebody had like kidney or spleen problems, like what would they feel like from this? I mean, obviously you said you wouldn't want to do it to them, but if they didn't know they had it for some reason, like what would they feel?
Well, the problem is if we did it with them and they had those problems, we'd be overwhelming the toxin levels in their body. They wouldn't be able to process it correctly. It could cause organ damage, organ failure. It could cause a lot of metabolic problems. Okay. Are we up to sternal now? Great. So from this point on, we're going to be doing the 3 basic techniques of lymph. Everything we did before here was just opening up the drains. The 3 basic techniques are circles, taps, and sweeps. By the way, that protocol worksheet that I think said down there, that's going to be due later, that's like the whole top half of the first page, circle, taps, and sweeps. Circles are done anywhere we have lymph nodes. So on your protocol it says, what anatomical structure is it done over? Do not write sternum. Do not write sternocleidomastoid. Write, where do we do circles? Over lymph nodes. Yes, so that would include sternum, SCM, axilla, inguinal region. For doing the circles here, I'm just going to use 2 fingers right in the center of the sternum. Now the reality is it's not a circle. It's actually, and I'm moving the sheet with me, so it's actually I'm taking it up, taking it over, and then when I relax, their skin bounces back. So I end up actually making a triangle. Up, over, bounce back. Up, over, bounce back. But I'm not gliding on the skin, I'm moving the skin. When I speed up though, it looks less like a triangle and more like a circle. So up, over, back. Up, over, back. But when I speed up,
It does look like that.
yeah, it looks like a circle.
Where specifically on the sternum line?
I'm starting in the center of the manubrium. I'm doing 4 to 6 circles. Then I move down a couple of inches. 4 to 6 circles. I'm only pressing deep enough to move the skin. This is a great place on the body to practice your depth. You can feel in yourself. Because if you can feel bone, and this, the reason I say this, because this spot, there's really nothing between your skin and your bone. If you can feel bone, you're pressing too deep. We literally want to do the circle with skin only. Notice I move down after every 4 to 6 circles. And I circle, pause, circle, pause, circle, pause, circle, pause. I move down 1.5 inches or so. I don't have to do every segment because when I move my skin, I'm moving the skin around my fingers as well. So I can do a little section, move down a couple inches, move down a couple inches. We're going to go all the way from inumbrium down to xiphoid process.
You don't typically have to be right on the lymph node.
No, the lymph nodes are on the side. I'm moving the skin from the middle, which is moving the sides. The purpose of that is to cleanse out the lymph nodes, like that, just washing out the
You
sponges.
said all the way down to the xiphoid process.
Yep, inumbrium down to xiphoid. Okay. Next, we're going to go on to tapping. Tara, if you want to give a little pull.